This is Kevin from Nearly Dead Creatures. Welcome to Enigma Media.
Ah, man. Ich krieg mal warm.
It didn't take that long to make me fall. I'm bleeding back against the wall. You're screaming for something to change, and I don't want to see you fall. You're a victim of an endless role, so you're leaving our lives once again. Let's go, I'm waiting for a leap of faith. This will be the last time that you ever scream my name. So help me see, 'cause we all deserve change. Help me breathe, 'cause I'm going insane. These sleepless nights melting.
What up, headbangers? How you doing? I'm Robb.
I'm Norm Mathers.
Welcome to Enigma Media. Today we're checking out Siderian Supplicant music video. My boys from the UK.
Whoop whoop.
Who
Represent.
loves bacon. Apparently our bacon is shit. So let's check out this music video. Well, I think about that. Comment.
Much better with sound.
Oh, I love that guitar. So good. take my eyes off the video.
I don't know what's more mesmerizing. Or the music.
So greasy. It's fucking horrible, as my brother would
Ugh.
say.
Ugh. Ugh. So filthy. Ugh.
It was really, really, really greasy.
That was
Like,
sick.
that was, like, you know, when you go to a restaurant and your fries come out, like, brown, not, like, that crispy yellow. Your chips. It's all fries. I'll tell Dale that, too.
Wow. You're calling them out, dude. They own us.
They're big.
Juice comes frozen.
So, be sure to check out this fucking interview right now.
What up, headbangers? How you doing? I'm Robb O'Day, and welcome to the greasiest of all time. Today we're chilling with Siderian, a UK band that does groovy thrash. How you guys doing? Well, Dave, how are you doing?
I am doing very well, mate. I'm doing very well. I woke up this morning. I drank a lot of coffee because I was quite hungover. I ate a lot of bacon, which is significantly different to Canadian bacon. And then I went for a 15-mile bike ride because I'm a fat man and I need to lose some weight. So that's where we're at.
Sounds like a good morning. I don't know if I could ever do the bike ride though. I'm pretty lazy myself, so I enjoy my coffee though.
I mean, I'm pretty lazy, but yeah, needs must, mate. Needs must.
So how did the band get together and start? How long you guys been together for?
5 years, March 2015. Basically, I was getting old. I'd not been in a band since I was like 19. Like my last band was like around sort of 2000, 2001, 2002 mark. And we were like a terrible new metal, rap metal, Limp Bizkit rip-off thing. And then post-hardcore got big. Do you remember like bands like Finch and stuff? And like, so we sort of tried to copy that. And then everyone went off to university and got jobs. So we split up, and then I moved off. I was doing other stuff with my life, like I never really did anything. I moved to a city called Manchester in England, which is, you know, famous for your Oasis and all these sort of bands. And there wasn't really much of a metal scene going on while I was there, and I struggled to find anything. And then I moved down to where I'm at now, and I thought I'm going to have one last stab at trying to start a band. And we've got a website in the UK called Join My Band, where you just put up an advert saying, these are my influences, this is what I want to do. And I got contacted by a couple of people. And so, yeah, just turned up at the practice rooms, having worked on a song that they'd sent over. And literally, because I've not done any vocals in like 14 years, I had no idea what was going to come out of my mouth when I just opened my mouth with the microphone in front of me. But it seemed to work. So we knocked out an EP in 4 months, literally wrote, recorded, released, started playing. But yeah, lineup issues. It took, yeah, we're on like the 14th member in 5 years.
How many of those are drummers?
Yeah, man.
It's always drummers.
It was the first one was the drummer. We lost our first drummer inside 3 weeks because he decided he'd rather go skateboarding and spend time with his girlfriend than turn up at practice. So he was gone. So I think we're on drummer 4 now.
Oh wow.
We've had like 4 or 5 bassists, and yeah. So the only original member left is me. So, but you know, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. We've finally got a strong, stable lineup, and things are starting to look up for us. But it's taken, nearly 6 years to get to where we are. But I mean, you got to keep plugging away, haven't you?
No, and I mean, yeah, the sound it's really solid because the Origins album that you guys released in 2019, I've been seshing it all day just because I usually do that just to have a fresh mind on it. I always check it out first and then I sesh the album before an interview just because I always want to see how an artist can go from A to B or A to Z in an album and see if it flows properly because not a lot of people listen to albums for albums anymore.
Oh,
for what they are.
As
yeah.
you can probably tell from
right.
my backdrop.
I know. I'm hella jealous right now. I'm like,
it's
yeah. My old bassist JP would be I'm gonna show up when he watches the episode. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, that's like my collection." He's crazy with
I'm a,
his collection.
I don't. Yeah, digital does nothing for me. I still get digital albums, but like I am a CD whore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love a physical. I like having a physical, tangible thing. I like reading the sleeve notes. I like seeing what bands they've thanked. Because if I like that band and they thanked a load of bands, I'm probably going to like those bands. And then you go down the rabbit hole, man. It's just, my missus hates it. My wife hates it because I spend far too much on CDs. But, but they're cheap these days because no one wants them anymore.
Yeah. There's always worse addictions.
There are
Music's a
worse
good one.
addictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the experience of writing that album?
Horrible.
Oh, really?
Won't lie. Yeah, basically, I booked the studio time to make us record the album. So I was like, right, we've booked the studio. The studio's booked for September. So we've got like 4 months to finish an album. And it was as UK summers go, it was a really hot summer. And we were in the practice room like up to 3 times a week for 4 hours a night or 5-6 hours a night. And it must have been like, the days it's like, I don't know what temperature gauge you people use over there, but in degrees Celsius, it was like 35, 40 degrees in the practice room, and you're coming out of there and you're absolutely dripping, and you've got nowhere after 4 hours. And then other times you go in and a whole song would just magically appear, boom, and it's ready to go. But it was stressful. Like we were still writing and finishing songs 2 days, a day before we were due to go into the studio. And we had problems with bass. At the time, the bassist was like, yeah. He wasn't really turning up at practices, and he was like, yeah, I've got all my bits sorted. And then it turned out he hadn't got all his bits sorted. And then we got into the studio, and he really hadn't got his bits sorted. So yeah, the bass on the album is actually played by one of the guitarists, and not the bassist. And the bassist is no longer with us. That kind of happened in the studio. So the whole thing was really fucking stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it was really stressful. You're sitting in the studio like this is the pinnacle. I want an album. I've got my album, and I should be enjoying this, and I'm not. It's horrible because we'd have to work so hard to get the amount of songs that we needed. And the whole recording process, like our drummer was involved in a road accident 3 days before recording. He was on his motorbike and got hit by a van, which crushed his leg. And there's a lot of double kick on that album. So we had to do everything back to front. Normally you record the drums first and then work off that, but we couldn't. So he had to literally he was using a little keyboard and doing like the timing so that we could then do the scratch guitars and then do the real guitars and then the bass and then we had to do the drums at the end. It was just arse about face. And the fact that it sounds like it does is just testament to the band's perseverance and the producer's know-how, I think. And like there's one of the songs on there, the actual title track of the song, we rewrote in the studio. The original version, the producer turned around, he was like, "No, you need to do it double the speed of that." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "No, you need to do the vocals like double speed." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't got enough lyrics." He's like, "Well, write some more." So I've literally that song is like 4 billion years of history condensed into 3 minutes or whatever it is, and the lyrics are ridiculous. I mean, they're just like cyanophyte oxidizing iron. I mean, what sort of fucking metal band writes shit like that? And then like, I'd never sung that before, so I had to go in the studio and record it for the first time ever. And then when you get out the studio, it's like, shit, we've got to play this live. I can't remember any of these daft words, and it must have taken like 3 months to learn that song and how it fitted, and so it was a crazy time.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me. We just finished our EP, and I just finished vocals the other day. And 2 days before I was set to go into studio, I was like, I'm not happy with this song. I'm rewriting it completely. And the guys were like, okay. Turned out really well. I'm happy with it. They're happy with it, but it's memorizing it now is going to be a hard thing because I haven't had the writing process creation, and then all of a sudden you've already memorized it by the time performing, and now it's like, oh yeah, we wrote it in studio, I've got to memorize the fuck out of this as quick as possible. And as a vocalist, that's definitely a challenging thing for sure.
It is, because I mean I'm quite pretentious when it comes to writing like lyrics. I don't go for your usual metal topics. Like we've got topics like US gun control and and like anti-racism but I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna write a song about the formation of the solar system. That's what we're gonna do, and I did it, and it's just ridiculous. Trying to remember those words is fucking ludicrous. It's but it's fun. It's all good fun, man.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite song on the album is Voices. I love the way it's constructed. How it goes from this fucking brutal, in-your-face, hardcore song, and all of a sudden just acoustic breakdown. And it just sounds so cool. And then it just like this builds up to this epic fucking breakdown with melodies and screams. And I've listened to that song probably about 6 times a day in the morning, and I've been up I've been up for 3 hours, so I've been like sessioning it pretty hard. It's a wicked song.
I love that song. Some of the other band members don't so much. But like, I remember when we were writing that song, and that fucking drop, when it drops in the middle, when it comes back in after the acoustic and the niceness, I was just like, man, that is horrible. That is horrible. That's exactly what I love. It's just really nasty stuff. And yeah, actually, we've got a lyric video for that, because I mean the album's been out since 2019, but again, we struggled to really push it and promote it because we had a few lineup issues, and then COVID kicked in, and that just killed everything. So we've not really like toured or played that album at all. So we've got a lyric video that we put together that we're going to be releasing very shortly for Voices, because that's about the war in Syria. Again, you know, pretentious stuff, but
not even. It's funny how I relate to you with a lot than I guess I could say a lot of other metal vocalists, because that's kind of the same shit I write about, world problems that people don't listen to.
Exactly. I mean, end of the day, I have a good life. Do you know what I mean? I've got a good life. I've got kids, job, mortgage, house, blah, 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 blah. I can't complain about my life. I'm very lucky. I've had a good upbringing, and I've never had any major issues. So I have to look and sort of cast a light on other people's struggles and say, you know, I mean, look at this shit here. Like Syria was in the news over here and probably all over the world for about 3 months, and it's still going on, but no one cares anymore because the next thing's come up, and it's just like, so yeah, that's about Syria, and it is, I love it. I mean, we put it slap bang in the middle of the album to sort of split the album into 2 bits, because there's no other clean guitars, there's no other like niceness, or it's just horrible, then a brief bit of calm and nice, and then horrible, and that's why we stuck it in the middle. And yeah, I love that song, man. That acoustic bit is just. Yeah,
it reminds me of In Flames almost, like how that's what I love about In Flames is they have this whole album that's just like metal, and all of a sudden they have one song just acoustic breakdown instead of a solo, and you're like, whoa. It catches you off guard, and you kind of have to stop and think about it for a second. Then all of a sudden, it pushes you right back into that heaviness, and it's like calm before the storm, right? You make it through. You're in the eye of the tornado almost. It's a cool concept.
I think if it's just 100% full on all the time, it sort of loses its impact. If you've got a bit of light and shade, it makes the heavy stuff even heavier. I mean that yeah. When it drops back in, that's probably my favorite bit of the album. I'm not going to lie, it's not for the rest of the band, but I love that. Yeah,
it's funny how every band member always has their own favorite song. Like our guitar player has a favorite song, and I'm like, that's not my favorite song on the album, but he's like, it's my favorite. To each their own. But I
call it bits of our songs, like rather than a specific song. I couldn't. Yeah, it's just like, I love that bit, and I love that bit. There's a song called Lizard Method Statement. It was about 3 years old when we put it on the album. We'd already recorded it and released it as a single, but I was like, it's a good song. Virtually no one's heard it anyway, so we may as well stick it on the album. And we had a breakdown in the middle that was just a bit. So we rewrote the bridge, and the bridge on that now is sick. It's just horrible. That got rewritten in like the space of 2 or 3 hours before we went in the studio, and now that's become one of my favourite songs, just because of the new bridge. So, but yeah, I mean, I love that album, man. We worked fucking hard on that album. And I don't think people appreciate what you have got to do as an unsigned band. Do you know what I mean? They come out and like you release an album, then people go, yeah, that's shit, man. We once got described as a shit Chimera. Do you know what I mean? I love Chimera.
So do
just
I.
to be mentioned in the same breath as Chimera. Do you know what their budget is? Do you know how long they get to spend in the studio? Do you know how many times they get to, practice and work on this stuff? we have to fit everything around our jobs and pay for it out of our asses, and there's no like payoff for it at all. You've released the album, it's bombed. Do you know what I mean? I've got hundreds of CDs left over here, but that's the life of an unsigned band. I'm proud as fuck of that album. To even be mentioned in the same breath as Chimera is amazing. I'll take being a shit Chimera all day long.
Yeah,
Absolutely
but
take that.
that's yeah, and it's a compliment because I know a lot of metal heads that don't even know who Chimera is. And I'm like, I wouldn't have known who they were besides like I was in a metal band in high school and we had a drummer who was 2 or 3 years younger than us and he was into black metal and he was a solo black metal artist and he was actually pretty good. And he showed me them and I fell in love with them instantly. And I was like, I need this. This is awesome. So, and not a lot of bands, or not bands, but metal fans I know actually will relate to that band. So it's kind of cool when you get related to a specific band that's very unique in their own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because it's at that point, if you're being related to somebody who's unique, that makes you unique. So it's a cool concept.
I genuinely think it sounds again really big-headed, but like I genuinely don't think we sound. I listen to a lot of music, and I genuinely don't think we sound like our influences. There's a lot of influences in there that have been spliced up, and we've not ripped anyone off. So you can't say, oh, they sound like, you know, we love Strapping Young Lad. There's a bit of Slayer in there. There's a bit of this. There's a bit of that, and it's you know, like Origins is straight up thrash. The actual title track is like a straight up thrash. And there's a bit.
But it's a new take on thrash, right? Like, and that's what I like, because like if you were to go to a metal elitist and say we're a thrash band, they would laugh at you. They'd be like, "No, you're some kind of subgenre." And it's like it doesn't matter what genre you play. You're a fucking metalhead. And I think that's what drives me really fucking nuts nowadays is the categorization of everything.
Well, we say we're like a groovy thrash band because of lack of a better label. It's just like, well, we are quite groovy.
And it is really hard to describe your music. It's easier to have somebody else do it.
Yeah, there's a bit of death in there. There's a bit of black metal in there. I mean, there's like blast beats and like the opening song of the album's got like a 20-second scream. With blast beats and tremolo picking. I mean, that's straight out of the black metal catalogue. And then it just drops into this sort of metalcore. I mean, I don't care. Does it sound good? Is it heavy? Does it make me go? If you pull that face when you listen to it, it's good, you know. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, if my bassist was here, but that's what we call our greasy face. That's why we call I call the podcast the greasiest of all time. It's
the Phil Anselmo.
Yeah, that filthiness. I love it.
Yeah.
How has COVID affected you guys? Have you been able to start recording?
Man. I mean, what's your situation in Canada? Where are you at the minute? Are you allowed out of the house or?
Well, yeah. So I understand both sides. I do know how the UK is because our guitar player actually he was immigrating here, and his immigration status didn't get through in time because of COVID. So he was actually recently sent back to the UK. So he's in Nottingham right now. So I got to see like a video footage of him walking down the street and not a single soul. And it's like, holy crap. Because he showed me videos before he moved here. And it's like, you literally can't walk past somebody without hitting somebody. And it's like, holy, yeah, Canada, I'm in Western Canada too. So like we're already so far spread. Like there's 2 big cities, 3 big cities. We got Vancouver, Kelowna, and Kamloops. And realistically, Kelowna and the Okanagan hasn't been hit too hard, but we're still technically in lockdown, have to wear masks and stuff, but we're not like, it's not considered a lockdown where we're not allowed out of the house. Like I see people out all the time.
We're allowed out of the house if you have to go to work, you have to go to the shops, you have to go to a medical appointment, or you want to do your one daily exercise thing. That's it. Like the kids aren't at school.
See kids here at school, and I don't think they should be.
So I mean, it was mental when it kicked off. Like I think we played our last show in March 2020, and it was a bit of a sort of jokey thing. Like we played a show for someone's birthday for like a local band who we love called the Dark Horse, and we played their lead singer's birthday, and they've got a song called March of the Infected. And they wanted every band to do a cover version of their song, so we covered March of the Infected, and I changed, jokingly and very tactlessly in hindsight, changed the chorus to Coronavirus. And looking back, like, it was all just a bit, this will be over in a couple of months and everything will be back to normal. And then by sort of March, we were in lockdown, and that continued until like summertime. And then in summertime, like everything just dropped, and there were no cases, and everyone was like, yeah, let's open everything up. So we opened everything up, and of course, everything just went. And the government said you can have a nice time over Christmas, get together with your families. And at that point, everything was quite high, but then, got together with the families and everything went, so we're back in lockdown. And here's the man on the toilet. This is our bassist.
That's awesome. How's it going, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Sorry, late as always.
No worries.
Are you sat on the bog, Chris?
Well, if I could be, you'll never know.
I do know.
That's
So,
awesome. Huh?
yeah,
Go ahead.
COVID has killed everything. Literally, like we've not done anything. We've attempted to write stuff virtually, writing bits and recording demos and stuff, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same as getting in. There was a brief period where we could get back in the practice room, but we never really got up ahead of steam to do anything. So we've got a lot of ideas, and we've got some good news to be sharing that we can't announce yet in the next sort of couple of days. Like, things are really looking up for us. But I just can't wait to get going again. Like, I mean, I've wasted like a year, and I'm already an old fucker, and he's an old fucker. And we've just wasted a year. I mean, our guitarist's a really old fucker. He's nearly pulling his pension. He's at the front of the queue for a COVID vaccine because he's that old. He's never going to watch this. He's never going to watch this, so it doesn't matter. What does it matter, Chris?
Watch him become the biggest fan of the show.
No, the rest of my band, Chris is all right, but the rest of them, they're like, oh, we're not doing an interview. But they're really boring, so I mean, you wouldn't want to hear from them anyway.
No, it's fine.
I've just got a message from my guitarist. He's watching right now.
He's not. He's sat there playing PlayStation, mate. That's what he's doing.
That's funny. What's so during COVID, you guys have barely had a chance to write then, hey? You've had some...
we've got like a couple of new songs that we've sort of worked on.
Yeah. Over the internet songs, demos.
Over the internet songs. Thing is, I'm a massive technophobe. I am useless with technology. It's a standing joke that I don't buy any gear because I'm the vocalist and I don't need to. I've got a microphone. I don't even have a mic cable because I had a mic cable. It broke. I never got a new one. I got a pop shield. I bought a pop shield. And then I downloaded Reaper, like the recording system Reaper. I have no idea how that works. My laptop is so old and shit that you're lucky to get a picture. That's why my picture's all fuzzy and you two are nice and clear. I'm trying to record vocals at home. I will literally not even use a microphone. I will just scream at the laptop, and whatever gets sent over, and that's it.
But we had
at the end of the day,
didn't we?
Yeah.
It's two versions. One was a microphone laptop recording, and the other one was done in our drummer's living room. And in the tasty bit at the end where there's some silence, you could hear a dog moving around the living room and budgies tweeting away in the recording. So that was quite humorous. So
we should get the budgies in the studio recording, man.
You should, though. That would be next level. That's funny. What do you guys plan on doing as soon as you guys are allowed to get out of lockdown? We've
got a secret that we can't mention, but the secret that we can't mention is getting announced next week. We've got I think half a dozen shows that are carried over from 2020 that got postponed, like festivals and stuff, like day festivals that are pretty tasty. So yeah, it's just, getting back in a practice room and writing some new stuff, because much as we love the album, do you know what I mean? If anyone sees the date 2019 on it, they're going to be like, yeah, not interested. They want something new. It's just a sad reality. And we've got to work out what we want to do next. It's like, how do people consume music these days? I know how I consume music, but that's not how everyone else consumes music. So do we want to do like a series of singles, like a single every other month, bang, 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 or do we want to do an EP? It's like albums, sad as it is, the album format it's dying, man. It's just I saw a stat, like there was a stat I saw, I don't know, last year, and it was something like 18% of people under the age of 24 have never listened to an album all the way through. Like 1 in 5 people have never listened under the age of 24 have never listened to an album. That's just fucked, man.
Yeah.
But everyone does. They're just like, I'll stick it on my playlist, and you get one song, and like if you don't nail it, if you don't attract them in the first 10 seconds, 20 seconds of the song, that's it. And for an unsigned band, that's that's
yeah, songs.
You're not interested.
You get the workout playlist, you get the cooking playlist, you get the chilling at home playlist, and then you don't get any full album listens. But I mean, the good and bad thing is for us, the albums technically is probably old now, but the positive thing is we've got new members since that recording, and the new material is sounding pretty banging. So it's like it pushes us in the right direction. So it's not all bad. It'd be nice to be able to run that gig that album a bit more. Well, not gig it even, because we still can, but allow more people to be exposed to that before we have to feel like we need to release something new.
Yeah.
That is true. That's why we're doing the Voices release, because it's like, I know from my Spotify and Apple stats and YouTube stats who's listened to that album, or how many people have listened to that album. There's about 7 billion people on this planet plus who haven't listened to any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can still push it whilst we're getting new stuff together, then we might as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, music never dies. Like, once it's recorded, it's there. So I know bands that are still putting out re-releases from the 80s, remastered versions. It's like, just fucking write new songs, but at the same time, it's like they're classics. They're good songs. The band loves them. Put them out, even if you have to re-record it. Like, where we put our very first EP out, and like, it was in my bedroom, but we needed to get some recordings out because we just started the band. So we did what we could with what we had. And I mean, our new EP is a hell of a lot better. So we're kind of like pushing it back, and so it's not anywhere seen, kind of a thing. But like, I'm still proud of it. It's recorded. We'll take songs from that and re-record them and make them better. So you can always make something fresh, whether as a band it becomes boring to you, because live you can always add these like wicked stops and then break into your thing, and like you can do tons of different things where you as an artist use that as art and change it. So I don't think having an album that's a year and a bit old is a bad thing, because it's a solid album.
We've kind of written off all the original stuff of the band, because the sound is not the sound of the band now. So like it was quite a sort of metalcore, the original like EP. I'm still proud of it, man. Do you know what I mean? It's part of me. It's what I did. But yeah, the new stuff is way more technical and harder and nastier. So yeah, we don't play any of that original stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the band's had a lot of members, so like the sound has naturally just evolved with people bringing in new ways of writing, new ideas, that kind of thing. So from the early stuff to the full album release, it's like it's night and day. And then I think the new stuff it's not going to be as much night and day, because we like obviously the elements of the album, but there's elements that are being added in now, like the evolving the sound that little bit more. So that's a really good thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've basically finished one demo for the new stuff, and it's like, how ridiculous can I make my vocals? Like, there's a breakdown at the end. It's like, what can I do to make them just disgusting that no one will want to listen? Because we had plenty when we released the album. We had plenty of people going, "Oh, I love the music, but I hate the vocals. Can you do an instrumental version?" I'm like, well, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? If you don't like my vocals, you shouldn't be listening to us. We're a metal band, and I'm at the end of the day, I might not be the best vocalist. I am not the best vocalist, but that's the vocal style that this band has chosen, and I want to be as harsh as possible because it makes the music heavier. We're not the heaviest musically, but in terms of vocals, it's like, yeah, I want to be just nasty because, like, I grew up on bands like that, and just pure fucking. I mean, the first time I heard Iron Monkey, I was like, that's just awful. It's just awful. And then you start going, but is it awful? No, it's genius because it's just like the vocalist from Iron Monkey is like, ah! And you're just like, but no one else sings like that. Like you can, you know, you get James Hetfield and like, you know, a billion James Hetfield go, but no one sings like the vocalist from Iron Monkey. No one, because you can't, because it's just obnoxious. So yeah, the new demo is just like the end of it is disgusting. Like the drummer refers to it as block drain noises, because that's essentially what it is. It's just like, ugh. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Bit more of that. Because it's, being an unsigned band, you do have a fan base, but it's not like, you know, if we turn around tomorrow and decided we were going to record a punk album, it's not like we're going to alienate 10 million people because 10 million people have never listened to us. So we can do what the fuck we like. It's quite freeing being an unsigned band because you can make those stylistic changes, and it's not going to piss off too many people because you're an unsigned band at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that change is a good thing in any aspect, but I mean, like, some changes are really bad for a career. Like, I'm really waiting for Metallica's career to just like kind of halt at the moment because they're like merging with Lady Gaga, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what is going on here, you guys? I've respected you since I was like a wee one, but at this moment, I don't think I've listened past Saint Anger. I'll be an honest Metallica fan. I gave everything up until that. I heard that snare and those songs, and I was just like, I'm good.
God, Chris will take you to task for that, but I won't because I fucking hate Metallica. I've no respect for Metallica. I never have had, because I'm a new metal kid. I got into metal through new metal. That was it. So all the stuff that was before,
I love Metallica for the first like 5 albums. But I'm a Mustaine fan through and through for sure.
No, don't like him. Don't like. I went to a festival in the UK where the Big Four played. I didn't go and see any of them, and I don't fucking care. I don't care. I like a bit of Slayer, not that fussed.
I'll openly state I'm not a Slayer fan.
Don't care about Anthrax. Don't care about Megadeth. There's all these people that were watching this interview up until this point going, what a twat. Well, you fuck off. But no,
whatever.
Basically, I go Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Pantera, and there's nothing in the middle. Like all the stuff from the 80s, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I do love the original 4 albums of Metallica, the first 4. There's a handful of good songs up until then. After that, sorry. Even a handful of like Megadeth's albums that I was just like, like when they went to do like Moto Psycho and shit, and I was like, I don't know. Some bands you got to change, you know what I mean? Like you have to adapt. But I don't think I find most of the people who are the ones making those assessments of other bands and judging them really hard on like YouTube and Facebook comments usually aren't people who play an instrument. So they don't really understand what it's like to play an instrument and have to write a song and come up with a new riff and how hard it is. And yeah, it's just, I mean, every part of art, from painting to visual art, music, it's all based off of something from before it. It's the evolution, right?
Like,
so
like metal is like, how many years have we got left? How many fucking riffs are there left to play? There's probably like 7 riffs that people haven't found yet. It's just basically at this stage to be fresh is virtually impossible. There's very few new bands that I go, I've never heard a band like that before. And kudos to those bands that can do it. There's still a lot of bands that, you know, a bit like us, take 80 different bands that they love and splice it all up, and you know, that's I think that's most bands. Quite frankly, but yeah, you can't be entirely original these days. It's not possible. Do you know what I mean? How many bands have there been? There's been millions of metal bands. If something was good, it would have been found by now.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's so flooded that like even bands that 10 years ago would be top bangers now with like millions and millions of views are only getting like hundreds of thousands because there's so much
There
music
is.
out there that
I
you
don't know
only
what it's
get
like in
a couple
Canada, but like
followers.
over here, it's just hundreds and hundreds. Everyone's in a band. Like,
Mhm.
everyone is in a band. And it's so easy because you can if you've got the technical know-how, you can sit in your bedroom and you can churn out an entire album, and you don't even need a band. You can do it all on your own, and it sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's become a lot easier, and with the advent of social media, you can put yourself straight out there, and yeah, it's weird, but yeah, it's good fun getting horrible and smelly and sweaty in a practice room and churning out some riffs.
No, it really is. I miss that connection. I always talk about it too, as like that telepathical connection that band members have with each other, where you don't even have to look at each other. There's no visual cues after a certain point. You just know what the bassist is going to do. Oh, the guitar player is about to mess up. The drummers had just missed a note. Like, you know, subconsciously that it happens and you don't realize it. And it's like this weird euphoric experience during a practice. Like, you start, you're
Weirdly,
normal there.
Practice is like an alternative.
Weirdly, I said to
Yeah,
our
we're
guitarist
in there.
last night, I rated my favorite band things that I miss, and like my top thing that I miss is like when you absolutely fucking nail a song in practice. Do you know what I mean? When you absolutely nail it all the way through, and you're like, I'm loving this. That is better than playing a good show. Weirdly, that is better than recording vocals or doing your bit in the studio. When you absolutely nail it in practice, and you know that if someone had been here, they'd have gone, fucking hell, man, that was amazing. I love that, and I miss that, and I also miss how much the drummer is prepared to offer towards the cost of practice. That because him chipping in his full share is yeah. If it shares five English pounds, he'll go, I'll give you £3.67, and it's like, how much am I going to have to chip in this week to make up the full amount? I miss that.
I miss having the alternative universe. Like, if we're writing a song, for example, like Dave brings the whiteboard. That's one thing he does own, a whiteboard and some markers. He'll sort of track what we're sort of. He may not follow what we're saying, but he sort of writes down what we mean. So you'll see like a random couple of words associated to a riff or an idea, and how many times it's doing it. So you got like 2.5 and a 3 and a 4.5 and a 4 and all this business.
Right.
So
it's mostly rubbed off, sadly, but yeah, break something.
There's something about vocalists, because
something about
mine's
hammer
chilling
on
right here. I wanted to make sure all my good notes that I wanted to talk about were here. No, that's funny.
But yeah, I miss the alternative universe that you're just in a bubble. Like Dave said, like when you smash a song and you finish, you like all stop dead on the beat, and everyone just had that smile on the face, like, yeah, that was good.
No, it's
and then you turn up at the next show the next day and you fucking suck.
Yeah.
And how is that possible when you nail practice? Like, yeah, we're going to be good tomorrow, and then you turn up and you suck.
Yeah, Murphy's Law.
But it works the same way. Like, you go into practice and you have an absolute shocker of a practice, and you think, oh god, I'm looking forward to the gig tomorrow, and then you walk on stage and you fucking smash it.
Yeah,
and you're like, I know we smashed that.
I did that. We did a gig pre-COVID, and just before we did a gig for a friend of our band that was his birthday, a local band, and did they split up at the time, Dave?
Yeah, we were talking about the Dark Horse one. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, man.
Yeah. So we did that, and we were smashing. We did a cover song for them. We did one of their songs as a cover, and in the practice it sounded alright. We were smashing it. Everyone was bang on. And literally at the gig, I don't know how, but I just ended up fumbling a note completely. I was just like, I only played this yesterday. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, nerves too, though, right? I think it depends on the show. I always find the tiny shows are the ones that get me. When there's like 10, 20 people and they're all standing away from the stage, staring at you, holding their drink awkwardly, like, you know what I mean? And they don't know what the fuck to do. It's like, why go to a show?
I like those though because I get confrontational with the crowd. Basically, my look on stage is I want to stab you in the face.
I'm the same
That
way.
is
I'm
my
like,
look.
move the fuck up, you bitches.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I'm such a dick.
I don't play the rock star persona because that's not me.
No.
But my basic, I'm quite a nice guy off stage. But my look on stage is I want to stab you in the face. That's my opening gambit. I don't say that. I just look like I do.
Right.
And I'm like, get here. Why are you here? Get here. This space. Do you know what I mean? That's your space. I'll stay on stage. I hate singers that go in the pit. What? You have a stage. Get on the fucking stage. But yeah, I'm like, why go to a show and just stand there?
Yeah.
What's the point? What enjoyment are you getting from that? Just let go, man. You've got a beer.
I think your band ethos would just be abrasive, like vocally on the recordings, live, like in person. It's just be abrasive and like that's how you get.
I like being abrasive. It's fun. It's fun to annoy people and say, "What are you doing?" It's
Yeah. If there was anything in the music industry that you think you could change, what do you think it would be?
Streaming.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
I like streaming, don't get me wrong. I love the convenience of it, but like I miss going, like actually wanting to go buy a CD. I actually miss that feeling and reading the whole book. Like I can't remember the last time I knew the lyrics front to back on. Like I miss that. Like that's mine.
Yeah, I think that also has to be taken into the hands of the artist. I think artists, we need to make a stand in that statement where, yeah, you can put all your music on a streaming platform, but realistically, it's not. I notice everybody's putting all their songs up, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? I think it'd be smart to put up a handful of songs. Want more of this album? You gotta go buy it, kind of a thing.
Well, I came across a band the other day that I was chatting to the vocalist, and they release physical CDs and vinyl, and they won't put it on streaming platforms anywhere, even Bandcamp, until they've sold all of the physical stuff. So if you want to hear it, you've got to go and buy it. Then you can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I quite like that concept, but he's in a black metal band, and black metal fans are a bit more. Well, they love their cult stuff. Do you know what I mean? They like their physical, you know, and we're not like that. So I don't know if it's a possibility, but I like it as a concept. I think it's a good idea. Deus Mori, by the way, that's the band. Just give them a sound check.
That's okay, Dave, until the Russians get it like they got with our album before it was even released.
Yeah, man. I went to release our album on Bandcamp on release day, and was like, I'd looked at the stats and I was like, we've been visited by and played by a lot of Russians today. And then I went to this Russian downloading site, and they'd already torrented our fucking album, and I hadn't even released it. They'd already stolen it, and I was just like, well, fair play to them. You know, they get some decent metal, but yeah, it was a bit. It's not like we're going to go and play Russia next week.
Why? I mean, at least your music's fucking wanted. Like, that's dope. They're like, fuck, we like it enough to like, we're getting it from Russia, you know. So
yeah, mother Russia, they listen to Siderian. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, if you can't get pirated by Russians, then you shit, mate. You may as well just
you're not doing your job right if you're not getting pirated by Russians at this point. All bands make sure you're getting pirated by Russians.
Yeah.
The next release isn't pirated by Russians, and we're doing something wrong. So.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to start looking for a Russian record label then.
My answer to what would I change about the music industry would be I'm hoping that all the people that have been bitching on Facebook for the last year that they can't go to shows, when you can go to shows, go to fucking shows. I'm not even that fussed if you just stand there at the back of the room with your pint. Come to a show, man. Come and talk to us. We're human beings. Come and talk to us after the show. You don't even have to say nice set. Don't care. Just come and talk to us. We're human beings. We have feelings too. Do you know what I mean? It's much more fun to play a room full of people that are actually enjoying it than like an empty room, obviously.
Yeah, it's weird to see. It's really weird noticing that you say that too, because it kind of seems like it's a worldwide problem where no one wants to go to shows. It's just we get told like in Europe it's all amazing, and you go to Europe and like everyone goes to shows, and I think that's bullshit.
I mean, I've got no evidence to say it's bullshit, but like, I think it is. You've got so many options of shit to do, and these days, like, you know, back in the day, you could go to the pub, and if you couldn't go into the pub, you could possibly sneak into a show, and there weren't that many other options of things to do. And now, like, no, yeah, it just seems that like numbers have dwindled, even in the sort of 5-6 years we've been at it. It's just like, yeah, gig numbers have dropped off. And occasionally you'll get an absolute banger for no apparent reason whatsoever when there's a room full of people. But yeah, it would be nice if people gave like local bands more of a chance, because at the end of the day, once you Metallicas and Slayers and all this fuck off, who's left? Who have you got coming through? If you're not going to go and support your local bands, at the end of the day, all these bands were local bands at one point. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's got some really good ones as well, and it's just like some of them don't do anything, and you think it's such a shame. And I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the personal situation, but half the time I assume it's just because not many people go into shows, and we have some cracking like local bands around us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, no, I've interviewed a couple bands from the UK, and like, I don't know, I've mentioned it to my guitar player too. There's just something about UK and European music that I gravitate towards. Most of my favorite bands are from there, and then I've got a handful of favorite bands and artists from Australia, but most of my favorite artists aren't North American. There's just I think there's more of a culture behind your music, you know what I mean? Because you guys you're surrounded by culture, as well. We're still building and developing ours. We're such a baby in the world. It's weird. I think that's why North America is so fucked up right now. It's just because it's like we're like that teenager who's trying to figure out if we want to wear the spike collar and color our hair. You know what I mean? Like, that's that's who we are at the moment. It's a weird concept.
Been there, my friend.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. I think when the British do it, like especially extreme metal and stuff, it's done with a certain level of hate involved. Just like it's pure piss and vinegar, it's blood and fighting in the street, and it's just nasty. There's certain bands that are just fucking horrible. I think it's also totally... we want to be horrible and antisocial and just piss people off, and that's why they do it. Like, Iron Monkey, I keep referring to them. They wanted to be hated. They wanted no one to like them. That was the point of them. Like, there's a band called Mistress who are from Birmingham, which is Black Sabbath's hometown, and their lead singer is called Dave Cunt. And they just went out of their way to be absolutely fucking horrible, because that's what they wanted to do. And I just think you get so many metal bands, and they're so nice and polished, and then they'll chuck in some boy bandy chorus, and it's like that's not what metal's about. It is being the outsider. It is being like you don't fit anywhere else, and that's where you gravitate to. It's just
the bands that stick to that, like they're at their formula, and for the most part stick to it, and they're reasonably successful, or sort of successful to us. I mean, one of Dave's favourite bands is Raging Speedhorn, and they're from our town, you know. And they've released however many albums, and it's not really changed since day one, really. Like, the first album was a bit different, but they've not changed to such an extent you'd be like, oh my god, they're selling out or anything like that. There's still just like this 10 tracks on an album, like smacking in the face, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Raging Speedhorn, like when I was a kid, like there was no internet. I mean, there was internet, but there was no like internet as there is today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you used to get all your music stuff from music magazines.
Yeah.
And if you were fucking lucky, an hour on MTV2 or whatever there was at the time.
Yeah, I got lucky. I had an older cousin. he got me into metal.
Raging Speedhorn are from where I live, and they just got together to make horror. They basically take a load of sort of leftover Sabbath riffs, and then two of the nastiest vocalists you've ever heard in your life, like brutal gutturals over the top of these Sabbath riffs, like proper nasty sludge. And within like three gigs, they were supporting Ministry in London. And then they ended up fucking off around the world to play Japan in front of 50,000 people. They got in the British top 40. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
A sludge band in the top 40 alongside Britney Spears. And it's like, what the fuck is this when you're 18 years old? It was mind-blowing. It was like, we can do this. If they can do it, we can do it. They're just a bunch of potheads from Corby. I mean, if they can do it, we can do it. And it opened up a whole new world, because they came out at the time when new metal was blowing up. So there were all these sort of British sort of new metal clone bands who weren't really, but they were like, no, fuck that. We're going to be a horrible sludge band, and sort of got carried along with the tide because they were British and metal at the time. But as Chris says, yeah, they're still there, 20 years down the line, churning out nasty sludge albums. And they deserve a damn sight more respect than they get. Big up Speed On. Speed On, next time you're doing a show in Corby, please let us play with you.
Like, I know a couple of the guys, they've had offshoots in different bands like Viking Skull and Motorcycle Daredevil and stuff. So like, it's not like they're just lucky because they've like had like a few different projects that have all done reasonably well, So it's, and that's like a local band. So to me, like I see them and I think, yeah, if they can do it, other people can certainly, dip their toe in the water, I guess would be.
Yeah, I definitely think that the mentality of I'm too old to do it, or we'll never make it, just needs to stop, and more focus on just pumping out what the fuck is true to you, kind of, you know what I mean? So, because I find that's what's missing in the world in metal today is that fuck you attitude. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. This is what you're getting, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Too many people are focused on, am I falling into this proper genre where I'm going to make fan base? And like, I grew up loving metal because it was like a fuck you, throw your beer bottle against the wall and headbang. You know what I mean? So that's, I think that mentality is missing.
We're not interested in any of that. Like our opening gambit in our bio, we don't follow trends. We don't follow fads. We don't have 7-string guitars. I don't give a shit about any of that. I don't want to sound like some band with just chucking in a nice clean chorus just for the sake of no, fuck that. I don't want to be a horrible band. That is the point.
I think bands just need to be who they are. It doesn't matter what genre you play. Like my very first band that I performed in a big show with was we were called the Pasties, and every song was a different genre. Like we had screaming metal, we had punk, we had songs where we didn't play instruments, we turned a hip hop beat on. Like we didn't have that. There was no box. Like it was just open, and I still have brought that concept with my music through the years. And now
I've never understood why a band doesn't do the same album but in two different styles. But I don't think any band's ever done that before. Like,
no, imagine yeah, that's true. No, it's true.
Why doesn't a band come out and do like a version of their album, like a pure thrash version, and then come out and do it as a, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking you have Radio Dread, like Easy Star All Stars that have covered albums, but it's like a reggae version.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never see an artist do two versions of the same song. I think that's because it's as an artist.
I think last album was it Drones. I think they had two versions of their songs, and then bands that do like their songs and then do acoustic version, which I don't think really counts because it's not really a style change. It's just the fact that you turn the distortion half the time.
Yeah, I'm not
I
a
think
big.
Goose did that, but
I've never.
I'd love to do. I mean, I love punk music, so like if we could like squeeze a punk song in, and that'd be funny as anything. But it's not going to suit the band, obviously. But I think like staying true to like your sound and stuff is good. But I think even in practice, like our drummer will turn up and like just playing some like jazz fusion sort of stuff. We're all just looking at each other like, barely play metal,
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. I think that makes us what we are, is because we have such a ridiculously diverse range of influences. Like the drummer, as Chris says, is like pop punk and jazz and other random stuff, but loves Slayer and playing blast beats. The faster the better. And then like we've got the new guitarist. He loves his sort of progressive metal and gent and stuff. And there's the original guitarist he loves his thrash, 80s thrash and stuff. And I'm a new metal kid who just loves nasty vocals. And I'm just and Chris is then basically everything, aren't you, Chris?
Anything from this part.
Yeah, I'm a punk kid through and through, but I love my metal. I'm a metalhead.
Yeah.
Die-hard metalhead, but I love the concept of punk rock. Like I've got a fucking Misfit tattoo, like I'm inked in punk rock, you know what I mean? So all the way through and through.
I find punk very summery music. I can only listen to punk when the sun's shining.
I find
Like,
it's
when the sun is
attitude.
shining,
You just
I can't-
don't give a fuck, and that's my favorite
I think
thing.
music's seasonal. Like I can when it's summertime, I can listen to old school hip hop and punk, and that's about it. I can't listen to metal when it's sunny. It's like
No, I
that's,
can. Yeah,
that's,
my favorite
that's
thing
not
is
what metal's
cruising.
about. Metal's grim and nasty in wintertime. That's yeah.
I still think it's funny cruising down the beach with like fucking Demi Borgir blasting, and people are like, "What the fuck?" And you're just like, "Yeah, bitches, embrace the dark side." Like, I find that shit so entertaining because people, like, I'm from a small town. There's like not many metalheads, and like you do that shit, and people are like, "What the fuck?"
We
So it's really
we used
funny.
to like as a teenager we used to love that. Drive down the high street with some fucking nasty shit just pumping out your crappy car.
Yeah.
Making the norms go. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
I'm 30 and I still do that. Like, I'll never stop being that guy. I'll be like 60 years old cruising down the street, like,
I did it yesterday. I had to go to work yesterday, and I turned into the work car park, and I was thinking, yeah, if anyone hears this, I'm probably going to get in trouble. Don't care. It's just like ramped up, just
Yeah, no.
nastiness.
I don't care if I'm not on the clock. They can't say fucking shit. Is there anything you wanna?
Vela Maya had their new single out, and I had the Bluetooth on in the car. I'm like leaving the car park with the new Vela Maya track. And, you know,
Best is when people don't expect you to be a metalhead too. Like my bassist and co-host Norman, he doesn't ever like wear a battle vest or he'll wear like a Lamb of God shirt sometimes. But like if you saw him just on a regular day, you'd be like, oh, he's the nicest guy ever. And then you realize he's got like the greasiest scream and metal face, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? He's such a wicked dude, and he's the most genuine guy ever too. So it's really funny because you see him on stage and like, holy fuck, I'm scared of him. And then you see him off stage and you're like, oh, he's a big teddy bear. So it's really funny.
That's basically where I come from. I can't take anything seriously. Everything's always a joke. But
Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
I want to say I love Canada, man. I fucking love Canada. I've been to Canada once. I had my honeymoon in Canada, and I want to come back one day. I had my honeymoon in Banff.
Nice.
And I nearly got eaten by cougars.
Probably.
No, I genuinely did.
Yeah, no,
me and my wife went for a walk in the woods. Bit naive. Like, go for a walk in the woods in England, you might see a squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Go for a walk in the woods in Canada.
You're getting stalked by a big old kitty.
Yeah, and this cat just pops its head out of the grass and was looking at me, and I was just like, that's a cougar. And then another one did, and I was like, there's another cougar. And then we heard on the news, like a day after, some woman had been mauled by a bear half a mile from where we'd been wandering around the day before. So, yeah, respect Canada. You've got some vicious wildlife, and your breakfasts are awesome. But your bacon's shit. Sorry.
Right? I think Dale said that to us too. And the other day he asked me if we had dilute, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean? And he's like, dilute. Like, he showed me this OJ condensed, and I'm like, dude, you mean like, I was like, we have that. It's just frozen. It's in the frozen noodle aisle. It's called frozen juice. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was there for 3 years and I didn't know this. And I'm laughing. I'm like, I guess the culture, like, the difference is like we're all so close in the world, but reality we're all so different and far away. It's kind of funny to see.
I was an absolute Dr. Pepper fiend at the time I came to Canada, and we have half-liter bottles, like 500ml bottles of drinks over here, and then I came to Canada and they had liter bottles. I was like, what the fuck is this, man?
And
like this
2 liters?
massive,
Right? Yeah.
But ours was like 2 liters or half a liter. There was no but a liter that you could just carry around. I was like, oh, fuck it hell. Yeah, buzzing.
That's funny.
I didn't like the fact that like the offline, your off license, your beer shop made me ask for my ID every single day, despite the fact I've been in there every single day. And he must have recognised my face by the end of the week, and he was still asking me for my passport.
Really? Yeah.
And your beer's small. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it comes in small cans. Nah, fuck that. We need big cans, man. We're British. We drink a lot.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I think. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. We've got 125. So go and listen to our album. It's The Tits. Go and listen to Iron Monkey and Raging Speed On, and British music in general. and all your local bands. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. It was a good conversation. And let us know when you are going to drop some new music, because we'll have you back on.
Thank you
We'll
very
try to
much,
get-
man.
we'll try
I
to get all
really,
of
I
you.
really appreciate it. It's
Thank you very much.
yeah, it's been enjoyable. This has been one of the more fun interviews I've done. Usually we get some really, but we've not even really had many questions. It was just I've just blah.
Yeah,
talked.
I like to reference us as the Joe Rogan of music, but it's just musicians talking to musicians about musician shit. So it's kind of cool.
We'll share the fuck out of this on our socials.
Awesome.
And I'm sure our special news that comes out next week will probably share it on their socials as well. So,
All right, guys. I'll talk to you
Brilliant. Thank
soon.
you.
cheers, Rob.
See you, man.
Much
All right, bye,
appreciated.
guys.
Take care. See you later.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date on all the fucking good shit we got going on.